And welcome to my PSG versus Manchester United preview. First of all, I want to talk about Andrew Herrera. I want to talk about him. He's been doing a lot of talking about the players, bigging them up, as has the coach. This is typical from, a really professional club where they talk up the opposition and then to respect them, to lead us into a false sense of security is the oldest trick in the book. Herrera has said he loves Manchester United, but he didn't felt loved by the club. Now, I'm going to say something about this. I love Andrew Herrera. He was a great player. He gives everything to whoever he plays for. But at the end of the day, the reason he left Manchester United is because he wanted an extortionate amount of money and he wouldn't get those wages. And surprise, surprise, the only high payers in Europe got him and now paying him that money. Nobody else would touch him because he's too expensive. His wage demands were ridiculous and Woodward and the board were right to reject them. I know that's a controversial thing to say. Right, on Bruno being captain, I'm going to say this after I read some of what Ollie had to say. Solskjaer, we have many captains on the pitch. Harry's our captain, and it could easily be many other players that I say is captain material. Tomorrow I've decided that Bruno's going to wear the armband. Did you see what happened at that presser? Did you see? What a shit show. What a mess. Who's your captain? My captain's sitting next to me. Bruno, stunned and shocked and, of course, happy. But these are two people sitting next to each other who can't stand each other. And the only reason he announced who was going to be his captain the way he did on a live press conference without the player in question knowing, because he's hoping beyond all hope that he can disperse the rumours, the true rumours that him and Bruno Fernandes just don't get on. And him and Bruno Fernandes don't get on because Bruno Fernandes knows he's not good enough. But it goes beyond that. He knows that Ollie has his favourites and not everyone in the squad and in the first team are on equal footing. And this is a player who's passionate, who obviously loves the club and will do anything to help the club win. This is a player that's really done everything right since he's arrived. But the player and manager do not get on. And the only reason he announced who his captain was without the guy even knowing, shocking him at the press conference, was, first of all, to shut us up because we've been demanding Bruno for a while. And he knows what the fans want and he knows what the fans are saying because he's craftily eking in. This is what they all do. They create fake accounts. Little bot accounts so they can listen in to what we're saying. It's not just football managers who do it. It's footballers, it's TV showrunners, movie directors, studio heads. They all do it, right? It's the way to find out what people are thinking and which way the river is flowing, right? But at the end of the day, it was so badly done and embarrassing. And it's just to prove there's nothing wrong between these two people. And everything is wrong between these two people. Just see the way they're sitting there. It's not a good relationship. And I know that what Bruno said last week, don't use my name to say anything about my manager and my players, blah, 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 blah. Forget it. You don't get on with your manager. There's a big issue here, and we both know it. Bruno is an intelligent guy. He obviously is a guy who wants everyone to be treated fairly. And Ollie doesn't treat everyone fairly. And, when he looks at this obsession Ollie's got with Harry Maguire, he must think to himself, what do I have to do here? Jesus Christ, Maguire embarrassed the club and himself in Greece. Fact, he's been playing shit, right, for at least 2 or 3 games of the opening 4 games, right? He hasn't been very good, still keeps the captaincy after doing what he did in Greece. And Bruno's thinking to himself, well, bloody hell, I've got the tools. I'm good enough. I care about the club. I know I haven't been here very a long time, but nor was Maguire when he got the captaincy. Yes, we do lack leaders at the club, and that's because we're a team in the rebuilding phase, and there's a lot of players who have been here through other managers, and it's a difficult situation. So it's understandable that we haven't got enough leaders. But Bruno Fernandes is a true deal leader, and any manager worth their salt would give him the captaincy. And I think it wouldn't weigh him down. So I'm happy for him that he's got the captaincy. It's absolutely the right decision. And I just feel that, I watch the United stand a lot. I love it, and I love Goldbridge. And Goldbridge seems to be a guy who knows a lot, who gets stuff fed to him. But when I saw his reaction to it, he was very happy. He was going on about it, as he should. He stands Bruno, and I stand Bruno. We're all happy about it. But I could tell by the look in Goldbridge's eyes, he was shocked to his core. He doesn't understand how or why this happened, even though it's what he wanted. And then Ollie gives with us with one hand and takes away with the other, right? And so he's not going to be his club captain. While Ollie's here, this guy will never, ever be captain. There is a divide between players because, as I say, they're not all treated with an equal footing. And this is how players turn against you. You know, it's all right for Keano to talk about these players will, roll Ollie over, let him down, get him the sack. Well, Ollie is not conducting himself in the right way. Ollie talks too much. He talks shit. What I've just read out to you about the captaincy, so bad and so disrespectful on Bruno. Basically, I could have given the captaincy to a tramp off the streets, but I'm giving it to Bruno. Think about that. So I'm happy that he's getting the captaincy at least for one game, but I'm also hugely disappointed the way it's been done. Firstly, to try and spin it that there's not a problem between manager and player, and then basically saying, I could have given it to anyone, but you can have it, mate. There's a point to that. He's begrudgingly giving him the captaincy because he knows it's what the fans want. And he knows he's that far away from losing his job, and he needs fan support. He hasn't got my support. I would absolutely love this guy, a legend of the club, to get us winning and dominating and at least playing good football and getting consistent results. But I don't see it. He makes too many bad decisions. He's also a liar. I don't trust him. He's a very negative manager. He's a one-trick pony, and he only plays one way, and that's on the counter-attack. And that's why we've lost the first 2 games at Old Trafford, and we've won 2 games away from home. And this is why, going on to the game, I believe that we can win tonight. Because one of the things, obviously, that's puts the result in doubt already is we've lost Bailey and Maguire. Normally, I wouldn't give a shit that Maguire wasn't going. I was quite excited when I heard he was injured. Probably actually not injured. I don't know what's going on there. But actually, if there's 2 defenders out, then he probably is injured because, Ollie Solskjaer is not suicidal, is he? So you've got 2 defenders out, which means you're going to have to bring someone in who doesn't play every week. I'm not sure who I would bring in there, but he's got to make a decision. And the thing is, for me, and I've said this to you guys on this channel before, it's not about the individual defenders. It's about the manager knitting together a good defensive, tactically astute unit, who play as a unit, who defend as a unit. That's what a back 3 or a back 4 or a back 5 are meant to do. It's not about individuals. Individuals can make mistakes, but if you're a unit and you understand each other's play, you can be a good defensive unit. I remember the old Wimbledon teams. They weren't particularly individually good defenders, but they were a unit. They were a unit, and it was agreed they'd rough you up because you were allowed to do that back then, but they were a unit. So whether it was Harry Bassett or Joe Kinnear, they had a unit at the back, and they weren't necessarily world-class defenders, but when you play as a unit and you've got a tactically astute manager, then you can do something. So I don't think individuals are very important when it comes to a backline. You want the best defenders, of course you do. We wanted Rio Ferdinand, it helped. But at the end of the day, Fergie knitted together defensive units, however much the defenders cost individually. And so tonight, it's too late to knit together a defence tonight. This is what he should have done when he first came after Jose left and when he was made permanent. But he hasn't done that. What Ollie thinks football's about is chucking individuals in there and hoping for the best. And when it doesn't happen, blame those individuals. Well, you can't do that. And then you've got the Van der Beek situation is embarrassing again. If he doesn't start tonight, it's disgusting. He's bought a player for 40 million. And I'm going to keep on. I know it's boring and I don't want to bore you. But he bought someone for 35, 40 million and dumped him on the bench. Then said, can I have 120 million euros, please, sir? So I can buy Jadon Sancho. No, mate, you can't have 120 million euros. First of all, we're in bloody COVID. We're not making any bloody money. Second of all, I've given you 40 million and you dumped the player on the bench. Why should I give you any more money? This is what the anti-Glazer mob and the anti-Woodward mob don't get. And, they brought players in, definitely not in the normal summer. I'd be complaining as well. And now people are using this against the Glazers and Woodward. Why don't you get a centre-back? We've lost two defenders, two world-class defenders, right? Anyone would struggle with that. I mean, Liverpool have lost one defender, their best defender, and already crying, right? One defender and they can't handle it. Why isn't anyone criticising them? Why don't they have a spare world-class defender? Or maybe they do. I don't know their squad. Anyway, so always lots of excuses for Ollie. As I say, in terms of the game, if Manchester United under Solskjaer play away from home, they've got a chance. Because even if we're bad defensively, we could easily outscore these people if we play the way we play against Newcastle. Of course, Newcastle's one thing and PSG is another. But look, anything can happen tonight. We could be absolutely thrashed. We could win a high-scoring game. It's going to be very, very interesting. I'd actually take the risk and play, apart from obviously Maguire and Bailey, play the same team he did on Saturday, was it, against Newcastle? Because as he said, this team are fighters. They've got drive, they've got talent, they bleed for the club. And tonight is a game where you have to bleed for the club. It's about who wants it the most. We want to stay in the Champions League. We want to go beyond the group stage. So I'd actually go for the team he played on Saturday. That probably isn't going to happen. I'm not going to call him out on it. But on Van der Beek, he must start tonight. Or for me, it just confirms what I already think about Solskjaer. What do you think the score's going to be tonight? Comment down below. Like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with more videos. See you again soon.